So, looks simple? Yeah? It is actually very simple. There's only 3 things you need to remember for a revivification. I can't remember what they are, actually. Number 1, you're in an experience. So for the moment, we're going to choose an experience of hypnosis. Why? Because you're in a hypnosis seminar. So you may as well choose something that's going to help you to get the experience, well, that you want for people, right? So once you have this experience, what are you going to do with it? Well, you're going to ask questions to orient them into the experience. Did anyone hear me asking questions about the experience of Connie? Right? What are the questions we typically ask? Well, I like to ask about time and location because that helps people orient towards it. And I want to have a specific event. I don't want to have a general event. Notice how we start off with something pretty general, like, yeah, lots of them. I can't revivify a general event because there's nothing to revivify. I've got to have one specific event. Make sense? So you can ask questions about that, typically about where was it, when was it. Then as I see it beginning to happen, or I need more attention from them, I'll ask things like, who else was there, what's around you, what colors, what can you hear, anything sensory description. I'm basically trying to get information out of that person. Make sense? The next thing that you do is everyone familiar with the echo effect? You reflect back to them the exact same things that they're saying to you. Now, here's the key thing. You do not paraphrase. You do not do active listening. You use the exact same words they use. And you just reflect them right back. Did anyone hear me almost parroting back Connie's words? Right? Went to Orlando. So you're in Orlando. You're watching this. This is happening. So you're echoing the exact same information back again. The final thing that you do is you change your tense to the present tense, because that brings it into more, shall we say, present experience. Do you notice how you started? I don't know if you actually realized you started off speaking in the past tense and then we slipped into the present tense? Okay. Often people don't, but it felt pretty good, right? So what the present tense does, the present tense is about what you experience right now. The past tense actually creates a slight dissociation. So you start off in the past tense, because that kind of, it starts being a bit weird, like, you know, I had been lying on the beach. So you're lying on the beach. No, I had been lying on the beach. I'm here now, right? So you start off reflecting the actual language that you use, and then slowly but surely, you just switch into present tense. It's a conversational thing. It happens all the time. And that's pretty much it. Of course, none of this works without that. That was why I was so, Connie gave us a great response, because when she noticed the H plus, she went, oh, okay, it got helpful already. And it was the H plus, right? I didn't actually say anything, right? I don't remember. It's great. It's wonderful, isn't it? But that's the point. It's the H plus, that intensity, that attitude that you have, that is a signal for them to not just tell you about an event. Because let's face it, how many times have people recounted their holidays ad nauseum and you're going like, all right, I'm the one going through like a real boredom trance here. And it doesn't affect them in the least bit, right? So you need the attitude which sets the expectation that there's something else is going on here. Make sense? With those 3 things, actually those 4 things, I guess, you're pretty much done. Any questions? Go ahead. Don't worry, I'll translate for you.
Is it necessary that they close their eyes?
So is it necessary that they close their eyes? Technically speaking, no. In this case, you probably will get eye closure because that's what people used to do, but you do not need it.
So you don't even suggest it?
I never suggest it.
Okay.
But if I see them doing anything like that, I'll probably say, that's right, or that's it. And they'll go, huh? I go, doesn't matter, but that's good. Does that make sense? Go ahead.
I noticed you switched from talking about Richard to that guy or that gentleman.
That person over there. Partly, well, just because I'm trying to create the experience, and I didn't know if I was going to bring other players in. So by making it more, there's that guy over there, it gives me the option to say, and who's that next to you? So it gives me the option to play that way. I can still use the name as well. It's no big deal. That goes either way.
Yep.
Someone else? Oh, here you go.
If they close their eyes, do you need to ask them to bring them back by counting?
Not necessarily. I didn't do it here. You just say, come back in your own time.
Okay, so you just say that.
Bring yourself back.
Okay.
And in a conversational setting, you can't start counting in the middle of a conversation. That's a little bit strange. So in that setting, you change your attitude. The H plus just becomes a plus, or just becomes, you know, an E plus, like energized and positive, rather than H plus. And that shifts the context, and the conversation brings them right back out again. Okay, so go ahead.
What would be the application for revivification?
We'll come on to that if we may. It's better to have the experience first, then we can start adding some of the bits onto it. For now, I think the best thing to do is to actually do it, experience it both ways, and then we can start doing things with it. Does that make sense to you guys? Go ahead, Rashid.
Explain the echo portion again, exactly how you're supposed to use the echo. You said that you
So
repeat the same words, but...
You want me to explain the echo portion again?
Yeah.
The echo portion. And like something about using the right words, is that right?
Right.
So we want to use the right words and show you how to use the echo portion again. Yes?
Okay.
The echo portion.
Got it.
Thank you. Okay, folks, find a different partner. Maybe someone you haven't met yet, someone you haven't worked with before. Hold on a second, guys. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Before we get all excited, we need some timings here, okay? Doesn't take very long, so why don't you take about 7 minutes apiece, 5 to 7 minutes apiece, 50 minutes in total. I'll give you a halfway warning. Use all the space. So one person will do it for about 5 to 7 minutes, really go to town on it, and then when you can bring them back, let the other person do it. Whilst they're in a trance, feel free to do positive suggestions like you've been doing all along anyway. Make sense? Off you go. Did you enjoy that? Yes. Did it maybe surprise any of you as to the results you got? Or how quick and easy they were? Yeah? Go ahead. Do we have anyone with a microphone? Do you want to run microphones? Someone? Run! Woo-hoo! Actually, we should put on the music from, was it? No, the Chariots of Fire. So, I think we had the first, oh, yeah, that's it.
The problem I seemed to have was when you were demonstrating it, the moment that, I can't remember her name now. Connie. When she was going through it, it was a relaxing moment. Now, when I was talking to Shay, the moment that the memory she was talking about was quite exciting. So there was this kind of ambivalence thing going on where she wasn't relaxed because she shouldn't be. And
let me ask you, did you ask for a trance experience or any experience?
It
an
wasn't
experience of being in hypnosis?
No, it wasn't.
Okay, that'll be why.
Ah.
So the first exercise was actually designed to make your life easy.
Yeah.
Is to ask for the last time or in a time they remember being in hypnosis, because that makes your life a lot easier. You've actually done the next exercise already.
Okay.
Well, what happened? May I?
You did I think you did a good job, but you just did the next exercise because what you got is exactly what will happen.
Because what that happened to both of us, what happened is we both got very energized and with our memories, and then he started saying, well, this is how we could transfer it to a product if it was a sale, you know. You get the first
Actually, yes, that's exactly right. But you actually have done the exact right thing, and it's worked perfectly. It's just you now know what happens when you have to select the experience you want according to what you want to get. So the reason we chose trance initially is because it's easier for you to see and you have more familiar reference points. And actually the very next exercise, you may want to do trance because everyone else is going to do what you did. Go ahead.
He was going on and on about his story, sharing his story, and without really any pauses. So it was real hard for me to go back and echo all of that.
Sure.
Do you actually stop them along the way?
Sure. Who was it you were working with? Barry, is it all right if we have a chat?
Yeah.
So what experience were you talking about?
Mine is like whenever I get ready to go somewhere.
So specific time, like give me an example. You
Today,
actually had a trance.
let's say this trip here
Can I pause
was a
a second?
total excitement.
Are we talking about a trance experience here or something else? Are you choosing a specific time you were in hypnosis and really enjoyed it? That's it. So think about a time you were in hypnosis and enjoyed it.
Okay.
You've got an event in mind? Like when was that?
Actually with her.
With her?
Yeah.
And when was that?
Just a few minutes ago.
Just a few minutes ago. So what's the first thing that happened as you were going into a trance?
I got a sense of euphoria.
You got a sense of euphoria. So you're sitting down and you're speaking to her, and you start getting a sense of euphoria. A sense of euphoria. Then what happens?
It just magnifies itself.
The sense of euphoria magnifies. So you're sitting down, you're talking, you get, that's right, a sense of euphoria, and it begins to magnify. What a wonderful experience. What happens next?
I start to visualize and smell and almost taste the experience.
You visualize, smell, and even taste the experience. You can visualize, smell, that's right. Almost taste that experience. That's it. You can do that. You can do more of that. That's it. All the way. There you go. There you go. That's it. And it's a good experience, is it not? Just take your time to really enjoy it. And bring yourself back whenever you want to. As I talk elsewhere, is that okay with you? Very good. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
So to give you the other side of the explanation, notice how he was doing what he was doing with you, and the first thing I did is I took control of the conversation. How did I do it? I paused them and I start asking other questions than the one he's answering. Now I was lucky in that he was actually doing a different experience initially than the one we wanted, which was trance, because that's what really the exercise was about at this point, which allowed me to really shift his attention somewhere else. And even if he had chosen trance, I would ask questions about that experience that he isn't ready to answer yet in order to get him to a place which he hasn't thought about already, which is what slows him down. Make sense? So my questions are designed to take control of the interaction enough. If he's got the answer already ready, that's not the answer I want, because that's already in the conscious mind. I want the other answer, the one that's more unconscious. So I wait for him to go, and that's already the trance beginning. He's actually looking for it, and that's putting him in trance. And then I just have to amplify that with the next question and the next question. And you saw the result. I stopped getting the verbal train that you were talking about because it's not there anymore. Does that make sense? So that's why the questions that you ask are really about the attention that you're getting. And if their attention is running without you, then you need to stop them and take control of the attention again. It goes right back to AVS. Do you have their attention? If you do not, and by the way, with some people, the verbal train is their attention, and that's fine. You just let them run because they'll talk themselves into trance. It happens, seriously. It happens all the time. But if this person that you're with isn't doing that, and you get a sense that you probably got, which was like a disconnect, like they're running without you, then you stop them, and you ask questions to redirect their attention so that you have control of the attention now, rather than letting them have control of the attention.
Okay, so your questions were when?
When, how, where, with whom, what, sensory based, what are you experiencing? And then they move into feelings, kinesthetic. What are you feeling? What's going on inside? What are you hearing inside? What are you feeling inside? What are you seeing inside? He actually gave me those things already at the end, so I didn't have to ask the question. But I'm going from external stimuli to orient him, which are room, people, time, place, sounds, that sort of thing, into internal experiences, feelings, sensations, thoughts, ideas, which are internal sensations. And that switches him from the external frame, which is normal chatty voice, to that internal frame, which is the thing you're revivifying anyway. Does that make sense? Now, I can do it by just the external experiences too. It's just easier if I switch his attention internally, and particularly because of the nature of the answers I was getting from Barry were very externally oriented, I had a pretty good guess, or a pretty good bet, that by asking about internal events, it would switch his mind more, and you saw the results, right? And by the way, how you saw Barry respond, and thank you for doing that so elegantly, Barry, is a typical of a conversational trance, right? It's very typical of how a conversational trance actually ends up working. You get people they get that slightly focused way, or a defocused, or they get hyper-focused. Their breathing and blink reflexes tend to change. They tend to talk less. They tend to slow down. These are things, but at the same time, outside of the context of this seminar, that would have felt just like I'm asking some interesting questions, not like I'm hypnotizing you, right? That's the beauty of the covert side of hypnosis. People don't realize it's happening, and that means a lot of the barriers that people have to hypnosis are no longer there. Does that answer your question? Go ahead, Barry.
Well, that brings up another interesting point.
Wait 1 second.
We're basically talking about the same experience.
Mm-hmm.
And she asked me, it's kind of like I got a kick out of Wendy yesterday whenever she said, you asked me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she asked me what it was, and it was from the time that I go to get on an aircraft
Mm-hmm.
until I land. It's
Mm-hmm.
all these childhood things of
Great.
how exciting it's going to be.
Great.
You know, and each is a stage for me to step up.
Okay.
So you're saying basically that when somebody is really vocal or explicit and love to communicate, basically, because I raised 3 daughters.
Yeah, that would do
that
it.
You basically would stop and just pick up, let's say, 3 or 4 points.
Yes, exactly.
So she should have said, okay, you know.
True,
we need to
exactly.
go-
So let's imagine you're on that aeroplane, right? So what kind of experiences when you're sitting on the airplane do you normally have?
That I'm fixing to escape.
You're fixing to escape.
Yeah, because when the plane flies off, then.
Okay, I mean,
want like an
you talked
adventure.
about internal memories, about a childhood experience of excitement and stuff like
Right.
that. What kind of things are you talking about there?
I get to escape. Nobody can contact me then for a few
Sure,
hours.
that's what happens, but what specific experiences are going through your mind that allow you to do this escape?
To know that I don't know what's ahead of me.
You don't know what's ahead of you. So what
Right.
are you thinking about when you don't know what's ahead of you?
How exciting it's going to be to achieve a new adventure, a
So-
new chapter in my life, let's say.
So let's say when you flew here, you're at the airport, right? It's time to get on, you get on the plane, you sat down on your seat, right?
Yep.
Then what happened?
I start looking outside and.
You start looking outside.
Yeah.
So you're in the airplane, and you start looking outside. And then what happens?
I want it to leave the ground, so I know that when it touches down again, that I've got a whole new.
So you just want it to leave the ground. So all we did there was we used the echo effect as a mechanism for getting more attention from him. So I didn't stop his train of thought. I'm actually using his train of thought. It's just now I'm directing it rather than him directing it for me. Because I need to be in control of the attention, otherwise I'm not a hypnotist. And don't get me wrong, guys, you don't have to control every conversation. You don't have to have the attention in every conversation, just if you want it to be hypnotic. And I hope you realize that not all conversations need to be or should be hypnotic, right? Does that make sense? So thank you again, Barry, for that great demonstration of it. Go ahead. Wait a second. Let's just let Sean do his running man thing. This young lady here.
When you pass from the echo effect
Oh.
and whatever it is that you are doing, and you're coming to the present, when do you make that switch? How do you know when it is the time to do it?
I do it as soon as I can get away with it. And I don't know when. I'll basically do a few leading statements. Actually, this is what I do. Thank you for the question, because I didn't realize I do this. I wait until I have their attention and I'm in control of it. And when I have enough of their attention that I can see them following my echo, then I'll switch to present tense. So when I've given an echo, which we did there, for example, so you're at the airport lounge and you're getting on the plane, etc. So you're sitting down. So what happened next? Happened past. Because, oh, I start looking out the window. He actually gave it to me. So I go, oh, you're looking out the window. Now at that point, even if you hadn't given it to me, because it slowed down and gave me one chunk of information, it tells me that now I'm leading that interaction, so I can switch tense and add that extra little piece on top. Make sense?
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Any other comments or questions? You guys are doing really good with this. Did you enjoy it overall? Wendy has one. There's one right there on the other side.
So if you're looking at a pleasant hypnotic experience, what if you haven't had a pleasant hypnotic experience? What are we looking at there then?
First of all, recognize that we're in a seminar right now where everyone's had a pleasant hypnotic experience. That's why we chose it. And I'm not saying that to be funny, just that's why we chose it.